have you ever just stopped and thought about how you think? Seriously, we throw around words like knowledge, understanding, and wisdom all the time, but what do they really mean? Well, it turns out there's this incredible ancient framework that breaks down the whole process of knowing into a fascinating three-part journey. Okay, let's dive into this.
So, let's start with the big one, right? What even is wisdom? It's a question people have been wrestling with forever. We usually think of it as just, having a ton of knowledge or being really experienced. But what if real wisdom is something totally different? What if it doesn't start with what we know, but with recognizing what we don't know?
I just love this quote from Adam Grant. It completely flips the script on what we think wisdom is. See, it suggests that wisdom isn't about having all the answers rattling around in your head. It's actually about humility. It's about curiosity and having that openness to say, hey, maybe I don't know everything. And that idea? It's the perfect launchpad for the amazing framework we're going to explore.
You know, in English, we're kind of stuck with this one big word, wisdom. It's a great word, don't get me wrong, but it has to do a lot of heavy lifting. But other traditions, they actually give us a much more detailed map of our own minds, breaking down that journey to wisdom into these really distinct, powerful stages.
And this is where it gets really cool. The Hebrew intellectual tradition gives us this incredible trio, Chochmah, Binah, and Dot. Now, these aren't just fancy synonyms for wisdom. Nope. They represent a dynamic, three-step process that shows us how an idea is born, how it gets developed, and then, crucially, how it becomes a real, living part of who we are. So let's start at the very beginning.
Our journey starts with the very first power of our conscious mind, Chochmah. This is the seed. This is where it all begins, that very first spark.
Chochmah is that aha moment. You know the one. It's that flash of insight that just seems to pop into your head out of nowhere. It's that flicker of an idea for a song, or that sudden solution to a problem you've been stuck on that just appears. It's pure potential. It's so new and raw you can't even really explain it yet. It's this little seed of wisdom that comes from what the book of Job calls nothingness.
Now, to help us wrap our heads around this, Chochmah is often described with these really powerful metaphors. It's called the seed or the father because, think about it, it contains the entire DNA of a future idea, but it hasn't grown yet. It's like a primordial point, infinitely small, but it holds the potential for a whole universe of thought.
And get this, the word Chochmah itself can be broken down into Chochmah, and that literally means the power of what, or the power to ask what. How cool is that? It tells us that the very foundation of wisdom, that first spark, is actually rooted in curiosity. It's the power of asking what if, that humility to wonder instead of just assuming you already have the answer.
But, a spark on its own just fizzles out, right? For it to become a real fire, it needs fuel, it needs structure. A seed needs soil and water to grow, and that is exactly the role of our second stage, Binah.
Which brings us right to Binah, the next critical step on our journey. This is where we take that raw, undefined spark of Chochmah and we start to actually build something with it. Binah is all about processing. It's the analytical, logical part of our mind that takes that raw data from Chochmah and starts to flesh it out. So if Chochmah was that lightning bolt idea for a new app, Binah is where you sit down with a whiteboard and start mapping out the features, the user experience, the whole blueprint. It's where a flash of insight starts to become a real coherent system of thought.
So the process of Binah is really about deep contemplation. It's about asking all the follow-up questions. What are the details here? What happens if we do this? What are the logical consequences? How does this connect to all the other things I know? This is where you dig in, you build out the blueprint, and you create a full, robust understanding of that initial spark.
Okay, so we've had the spark of Chochmah, we've built it up and structured it with Binah, we have a fully formed, beautiful idea. But we are not done yet, not even close. There's one final, absolutely crucial step that turns all that abstract understanding into true wisdom, and that is Dot.
Dot literally means knowledge, but it is so much more than just knowing facts. The root of the word implies this deep intimacy and connection. Dot is the stage where you truly internalize what you've understood. It becomes a part of you. It's the bond that connects your brain to your heart, turning an idea into a real motivation to act.
This question just nails the whole point of Dot. Think about it. A professor of ethics can understand all the complex ethical theories perfectly. That's their Binah. But that doesn't automatically make them a good ethical person, right? Just like a mathematician who studies triangles all day doesn't become a triangle. Dot is the force that closes that gap between knowing something in your head and actually living it in your life.
So if there's one thing to remember, it's this. Dot is the bridge. It's what connects the head to the heart. Without Dot, a great idea just stays out there. It's something you learned, but it hasn't really changed you. But with Dot, that idea becomes a personal conviction. It becomes a part of your reality that actually shapes how you live your life.
So now we can finally bring it all together. See, Chochmah, Binah, and Dot aren't just three separate things. They form this dynamic, flowing process. They are the 3 points of this powerful triangle of wisdom.
So let's recap that journey real quick. It all starts with Chochmah, the intuitive spark. Then, Binah takes over to develop that spark, to analyze it, give it shape and structure. And finally, Dot allows you to integrate that understanding, making it personal, making it real, and making it something you can act on. Spark, develop, integrate. Simple as that.
This table just lays it all out so perfectly. You can see the entire flow. You have Chochmah, the inception, which is like the seed or the father. Then you have Binah, the development, which is like the palace or the mother, the womb where that seed grows. And finally, you have Dot, the integration, which is the child, the actual living result of that union, a new reality brought into the world.
So I want to leave you with this final thought to take with you. Think about a time you truly learned something, not just memorized it for a test, but something that really changed you. A new skill, a new perspective on life. Can you see this process? Can you spot that initial spark, then the hard work of understanding it, and then that final click where it became a real part of who you are? Where can you see this triangle of wisdom at work in your own life?